Got 4-5, snapped a nigga's page. Label them off, it was hard to quit. Started out drinking 40s, moving hard as shit. Goddamn, now I'm a grown man. Follow no one, the nigga got my own plan. Watch me.
Unstoppable. I know that you want me to fail, but no, I won't. I'll keep fighting until the day I live about. Till I sit in heaven, I will never stop. I will never stop.
I got a handgun, have it, nigga, front, I'll let you have it. When the shots go off top, saying 50 back at it. I'm allergic to the feathers on these bird ass niggas. Front and I put your brains on that curve fast, nigga. I ain't a monster when I spark and I spray shit. Enough rounds from that HK, I don't play, bitch.
Hello, and welcome to Dobie Talk. This is Mark Tamayo with Nemesis Kennels, and I'll be your host today. We're just waiting for Dr. Paul Ciatto to sign in. He is getting the link as we speak, and then we can start taking some questions and going through some interviews. If you guys have any questions, be ready with your questions, and you guys can comment through IG, or you can comment through YouTube. I believe we're on Facebook as well.
I'll keep fighting until the day I live about. Till I sit in heaven, I will never stop. I will never stop.
Shit, we only got 2 weeks to do this whole album. Complete it. Mix it down and everything. We don't have time or the luxury to spend all this time doing one song. We got somehow to find a way we can double up. Because I did my whole album. I know it ain't all of that, but I did my whole album like 3 songs a day. Because I was just laying in we getting on
There's a certain mystique when I speak that you notice it's so unique. Cause you know it's me, my poetry's deep and I'm still matic the way I flow to this beat. You can't sit still, it's like trying to smoke crack and go to sleep. I'm strapped, it's knowing any minute I could snap. I'm the equivalent of what would happen if Bush rapped. I bully these rappers so bad lyrically. It ain't even funny, I ain't even hungry, it ain't even money.
Hey guys, welcome. How's it going? This is Mark Tamayo, and we'll be sitting in here with Paul Ciatto, Dr. Paul Ciatto, in a minute. Again, he's having some technical difficulties getting the link. So if you guys have any questions, there he is. Awesome. Okay, give me one moment. Can you hear me, my brother?
I got you loud and clear. Can you hear me? I hope.
Awesome. There you go. Yeah, how you doing?
I'm great, man. You looking good as ever?
Hey, thanks for joining us. Yeah, same to you, man. I'm trying to look as good as you, man. Trying to stay fit.
You're doing it. You're staying fit of mind, body, and soul. That I know you do on the regular routine basis.
Yeah, not as much as I should, but I try, man. My wife kicks my butt every day to make sure I stay healthy.
And that you should be thankful for that. Trust me.
That's
It's always good to have someone, instilling that discipline and habit forming. You know what I mean? So
That's right. That's right.
great. That's great. I've been looking forward to this all day, man.
Yeah, for sure. Me too, man. We enjoyed our talk last time, and we just want to go over some things that you learned through,
Sure.
some of the years that you've been owning Bane so far.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and see what we can, give to our followers, to maybe shortcut the trials and tribulations that we go through.
I agree 100%, man. 100%. I always, like we've spoken many times before, and for everyone out there that's watching and listening, Mark is a fantastic resource. So he's forgot more about Dobermans than any of us will ever know. So I don't ever, I always reach out to him, whether it's a quirky behavior or a training issue or diet, anything.
Yeah.
Because the Dobermans is a special breed in all facets.
Yeah, for sure. And what I've learned over the years, I just try to give back, and because I've owned Dobermans, throughout my whole life, and we just want to give back to ensure that the dog's being raised healthy and
Correct.
good exercise, and we don't diminish the preservation of the breed, and and they don't reach their full potential. So we just want to make sure that we educate as well.
I couldn't agree more, and I think the biggest mistake that people don't make when it comes to this breed is they don't educate themselves before they even consider to own one.
Sure.
They are, actually, I get picked on a lot at home because, that's my boy. That's the joke. You know what I mean? It's like, and, but it's a lot of time and attention, and they're
Sure.
hyper intelligent. They always want to be doing something. The joke at home was like, oh, he's like a toddler at times because he's always looking to get into something, and like you told me way back when, going 3 years ago, it was like, listen, if you don't give him something to do, or if you think he'll figure out how to complete the task. It's something as
For
simple
sure.
as, oh, you don't think I can open that door? Trust me, I'll open that door, and they do. Like it's that quick. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's crazy how smart they are, because, like I always say, if you don't take that alpha role in the home, they're going to take it for you, and they're going to challenge you. So we just want to ensure that, like I said, this is a breed that's bred for protection. The number one goal for them is to protect you and love you. So if you don't control that, they might protect you in a way, in a situation where you don't need protecting. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I found many times that, like, as you know, and you see, he goes with me everywhere, and
Mhm.
it's funny. last Sunday, I had him in the gym with me that I own. And, I always have him on leash because I don't trust anybody, period.
Yeah.
And he's trained on and off, as you know, but it happened to be a day where I was like, okay, I'm very comfortable who's in the gym that day. And I had him, I had his leash on him, but I just let him roam. He doesn't move more than 2 or 3 feet from me at any time. It's just the way it is. He'll sit there. He'll lay down, X, Y, and Z. I will keep a treat in my pocket only in the instance where I think I got to get real control of him, even though he's hyper obedient. But always taking those precautions because of the job, because of what they are as a breed. But to quickly answer what you were saying before is, like, there's instances if I have my back turned, if you approach too quickly, okay, he will let you know right away, slow down, okay. And even if I'm wearing my Beats, which is with the noise canceling, you hear that bark, and they've got your back, okay. They got your 6. And they're letting that person know, back up. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's people they know. That's the most impressive part. It's like, hey, I know you, but I don't know you.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
Don't be coming up on my human like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Don't be a creeper.
Correct. Correct.
Whether you're a loved one or not.
Yeah. Don't be a creeper.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, again, they're a perfect dog to know when they to be the loving pet and to turn it on, and like you said, they do have your 6. They can sense when someone has bad energy around you, and that hair, on the back of their back, will stand up and, alert you that, there's a threat,
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
you just got to look for those things, those little signs and stuff like that. But, again, like I always say, you always look for a good trainer because, we don't train like advanced training and behavior training. We do basic obedience training in our puppies, as they're growing to instill like desensitization, socialization. So by the time they get to you guys, you can handle them. They're not wild and crazy. They're not whining in a crate. They're a little submissive, very high drive, but, again, they have the good temperament where they're confident, exploring, and they can be well transferred over to you guys.
As you know, what I did with Bane, I had him, and then he went out for 6 weeks, to advanced obedience training, and and he was fantastic. He continued the cropping process, to make sure that was developing properly, and had experience with Dobermans, and and because of the breed and because of the drive and the intelligence, it's the best thing for them. But to circle back to what you said earlier about them being so alpha, you've got to continually let them know who the boss is. You're the head of the pack. This is the way it is. But also exposing them to the world. So the greatest compliment I get out of him, outside of being a showstopper, and that's a testament to your kennel, okay? He's a showstopper. People look, they're like, wow, he's just gorgeous, right? His temperament, okay? And from being a protection breed, his temperament is so even-keeled when I have him in public, okay? Very friendly, very approachable. He'll look, I have to give him the nod sometimes. I'm not going to sit here and say no, and I'll say, it's okay, they're good, whatever. Yep. But I've got more compliments about that. I mean, everyone sees how obedient he is, but the temperament part of it, and I have to say, it was a process. Yeah. And as you know, I took a very big, because knowing what kind of dog I'm getting, I made it my business from when he was a pup, when you sent him to me, to make sure he was exposed to the world. Sure. He was eating people. He was in the supermarket. He was in the gym. He was in Pet Choice getting a bath, wherever it had to be, and it's like I could take him into a place, Tractor Supply here in the Northeast where everybody brings their dogs and animals, taking him into a Petco, and he's unfazed by other dogs that are going buck wild, for a lack of a better term, because I just didn't tolerate, any of that. I've had him, like I take him for, I bathe him probably every 2 weeks, It's just, and even though you probably don't have to with Dobermans, I just do. He likes it. I've been doing it since he's a puppy.
Sure.
I've had him, and he's an unneutered male. Okay, and I've had him in those places where people have bought in Connie Corsos, pit bulls, unneutered, and they're going nuts. And Bane is just there like this, and he looks at him like, yeah, whatever, dude. You know what I mean? Like, because who they are, but A1, the training, I did not tolerate.
Sure.
And I told him, how did you do that? And I'm like, train your dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Repetition.
Yes.
Every day, structure, discipline,
Oh, forget it. Repetition, and exposing that. And then when you get another dog that's basically poorly trained or hyper, for lack of a better term, you don't that behavior, you train them and teach them to ignore it. That's them, they're doing them, but we don't tolerate that here. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's funny because
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's funny. Quickly. It's funny that over time, Bane is almost like he has an arrogance about him. Like, really, dude? I'm trying to get it back here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
no, what I was going to say is, when you're with a good trainer, they sometimes will train you how to control your dog, because ultimately you're going to be at home, right?
Correct.
So what I've learned over the years with some good trainers is, you can do so much at home every day, and that dog will be dialed in. But if you don't do any environmental training with them, they won't be exposed to those type of situations or environment. So if you do put them in those type of situations, they can be a little skittish, right? So, just like any weapon or anything like that, muscle memory, again, repetition. And, and these dogs will learn to desensitize themselves from certain situations. So I think, by you putting the foundation in them, by exposing him to a lot of places and things like that, that makes him a well-balanced dog, based on the foundation that we put into him. You just took it, and that's what we love. You just take that foundation and you just run with it. And again, training, structure, discipline again, and these dogs will love that.
It's what they thrive on. It's who they are, and it's a working breed. Yep. It's the only true protection breed, like you said, and you have to be very cognizant of that, because it's funny because I haven't had to go really deep into that part of it because it's so natural. And trainers that I work with, and my trainers, like, hey, listen, you don't have to massage it with this breed, because you don't want to have it over accentuated, because you have a really nice companion now. You have a great pet, you have a great dog, you have a buddy. But some people take it to the extreme and listen, man, at the end of the day, let's keep it real. You're walking down the street with a Doberman, people are going, all right, not to be messed with. You know what I mean? It's straight up. It's the beauty and the appearance of the breed, and they understand. Listen, it is what it is. But at the same time, you don't want to massage something in a breed that innately and naturally is so protective to the point where they become intolerable in public. You know what I mean? Sure. That's the best way I could put it. But Bane, at this point, at 3 years old, where he's physically maturing now, really, he's big. I put a video out, and I sent it to you. I always send you the stuff, as you know. And he was running around the backyard, and he's locked in on that bird, right? Yeah. I didn't realize how big he is until I see a video, because I'm with him all the time. You know what I mean? There he is. Over here, big boy. So, I don't realize how big he is until, he actually, I see him alone. Bane, come here, pal. So I don't see him, and I realize how big he is. So when I'm in public and people are like, man, he's big. I go, okay, I know he's big, but being almost 28 inches at the shoulder, he's 103 pounds, 105 pounds. He's lean as heck. As you know, I have him on a raw diet.
Sure, I was just going to say that.
Yeah. So point being is, you almost have to be reminded yourself, wow, man, I've got this, statuesque protection breed, like it's told me all the time, the showstopper. You know what I mean? It puts an energy out there.
For sure. And again, the power behind them, again, it could be a liability. So that's why we stress so much obedience into these dogs. You know, they're a great companion. Just you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. You know, people have a misconception that they can get a dog based on something they see, right?
Correct.
And they can take it and then they can have the same thing, but they don't understand that it takes years, to build these dogs and structure them in that way, you know.
And it doesn't stop, Mark, as you know, and you know better than anyone else. And I'll give you the quick version of this story. Quick version: a fellow businessman in the area sends over a quote unquote friend, go see Dr. Paul. He's got a Doberman. You know, he's beautiful. Bane, come here, pal. You want to talk to me now?
Did he just walk up the stairs?
He just walked upstairs. Yeah, he walked upstairs.
I just
he came down. He's like, all right, he's doing something, you know. So he's waiting for his, like, he's, we have the mini pit here that he loves. You know what I mean? So he's probably looking for her. But
nice.
Long story short, this guy comes and he's like, I want a Doberman. I want blah 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 blah. And I'm interviewing him. Okay, almost like based off of when I contacted you and I filled out the forms and you get all the questions and this and that. And then, now I come from a place of experience. And long story short, you know, he works, she works, they have no property, you know, the dog's going to be in crated for X, Y, and Z. So at the end of and as we're having the conversation, I'm telling him, I'm kind of giving the energy like, man, it's not, you don't need a Doberman. Yeah. So you've never owned a dog in the first place. Number one. Okay, that's the first thing. You've never owned even any type of breed outside of a very strong working breed like this. Okay. And two, the dog is going to be miserable and you're going to have a dog that doesn't deserve that. And this gentleman got mad. He actually got angry with me. And he's like, well, what do you think I should get? I said, you want the truth? He's like, yeah. I said, you need to go get like a Labradoodle or a Labrador or something, man. Yeah. I said, you can't own a Doberman, man. I'm like, I know he's cool looking. I love the way he looks. Sure. But you don't have the capacity, the property, or the time to have this dog. You know, I'm self-employed. I have the blessing to take him. You see, I send you pics all the time. Sure, he's sitting in my office with me. Yeah. I mean, like he's in the car with me. Like I take him everywhere, you know? Yeah. And I also waited until I was 50 years old to get this type of breed because at that point in my life, I had the ability to give him the attention that he deserves, man. Sure. Like, listen, Dobermans, Connie Corso, American Bulldog, Pit Bulls, German Shepherds, Borbals. These are types of breeds that you just don't own them. Yeah. You have to, they live with you, you know?
They require a lot of attention.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Yep. And you're doing a disservice to the dog when you're just sitting on them like that, you know? You know, especially like you said, a high drive breed like these are, you know, by putting them in a crate, by, you know, not having them active. Again, you're doing a disservice to them. And, you know, that goes to all health. You know, they're going to become unhealthy. They're going to get sick, you know, all these little things that can, you know, do to risk just because of not exercising. So,
and the mental, it's mentally unhealthy.
Oh, sure. For sure.
For this breed, it's turned our lives so upside down here in a very positive way.
Sure.
But like if he's home that day, one day and, you know, and there's nobody home to care for him and, you know, so he can go out and run and do his things here when he's not with me, guess what? Like he's with me all day. Period. Mm-hmm. He doesn't, you know, there's no more than crate time as per what we allot. So like, you're not locking up my European Doberman in a crate for 7 hours and not thinking you're not going to piss him off.
Sure.
Because you are. Yeah. He's going to get out and be like, really? That's what you just did to me? You know what I mean? Like, I'm in my own head. I'm in this crate, yada, yada, yada. So everyone knows in the house, all right, he's getting dropped off to dad. You know, he's with him all day today. You know, and which is cool. Sure. But people don't understand that's what it takes. This breed, along with the other ones we've named, you just don't own them. Yeah. They are part of what you are. They're part of your life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it's very important to us, you know, that we filter our clients, that, you know, our owners, to make sure that they are active, you know, households where the dog is actually going to be with them. And again, the luxury that we have, Dr. Paul, we can stay home with our dogs. We can give them a lot of
Of
attention.
course.
Some people cannot do that, but that's why it has to be the right time, right?
Absolutely. And to your point, I've said that to people who have asked, they go, listen, somebody's always home at my house.
Mhm.
Like he's never in a crate for more than a allotted period of time if necessary. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's out back running in a fenced in big yard. He's here with the other, I have other dogs as well.
Sure.
He's doing his thing and he's happy. And
Yep.
he's
Yep.
always looking at what's going on. And even him, he's like I said, the joke is he's a toddler. You know what I mean? He's a
Yeah.
toddler because he's always looking to do something. You mean he's always
Sure.
wanting,
Sure.
give me something to do, give me something to do.
Yeah.
So
And I do hate refusing people when they do call in and it's not the right situation for them. But you know
right.
what? I rather do that and say no than to put my dog in an unhealthy environment where
Oh,
they're going to do a disservice to the
absolutely.
dog. And, that dog might wind up on the street or in a shelter or something,
And,
and,
and
and
they
we don't
don't
want that.
and
Yeah.
especially breed, they don't do well in that type of environment.
No, no, no. And
No.
they're very hard to transfer
Mhm.
ownership from a Dobie, so
Yes.
they're so codependent on their owner. So if you do own them for a while, it takes a lot of time for them to adjust to a new owner if they do get transferred. So
No, absolutely.
yeah, that's why it's
Absolutely.
very important for us to one owner, one buyer for the rest of your life, and that's it.
Yeah. Don't get another one. You know what I mean? Like don't get one, I should say. Me. You and I've been working covertly. I want another one. But
Yeah, I know.
you didn't hear me you didn't hear me say that. So but at the end of the day, it's he's brought me such great joy. He
Sure.
really has. Like it's just that's my boy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. I'm not gonna
Oh,
say
for sure.
it's a lot of work, but it's so rewarding and fulfilling because like you said, the attachment to the family, the attachment to the owner, the attachment to the surroundings, the one of the most amazing things about them is that I've learned this, and correct me if I'm wrong, man. These dogs, they make mental notes. As crazy as that sounds, when they know where they're going, they know like their whole demeanor changes. Like
Sure.
a happiness comes about them when they know they're arriving somewhere that that they've been many times, that they're happy to be there. They know what's going to happen when they're that day.
All right.
It's like again, it's almost like they're like kids in a candy store. That's the
Sure.
best way I can put.
It's so funny. Every morning when I wake up, 4 or 5, whatever time it is, when I'm dealing with the puppies or with the dogs, I always greet my dogs in the morning, like, good morning, good morning. What's up, baby? Good morning.
Right.
And I'm not sure if Bane does it, but a lot of our dogs tend to do this, but they always smile. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the morning, especially Cash, all I have to say is, good morning, baby, smile. And you can smile through. So, that brings us joy, and to share that type of joy, especially with this type of breed to others, that's our main goal, to supply a healthy dog, do what we need to do, our due diligence, in supplying and producing some great, dogs and puppies, and ensuring that we're finding the right homes for them, and that's ultimately what we want to do.
It's and the vetting process you said is important. It is because to everyone out there listening, man, not everyone should own a Doberman. I'm the first one to say not everyone should own one. I'm sorry, you should not. I love the look like everyone else does, but this is, and we touched on this last time we spoke too, like the American Doberman compared to the European Doberman, you're talking about two different breeds. They're not even remotely the same. They're not remotely the same way they look, the way they act, nothing. It's, I was in a Petco many moons ago, and I was in the back doing, that's what I did. Part of his training was I took him to Petco every week. I took him there to be exposed to the public, to other dogs, et cetera, et cetera. And we were in the back of the store, and these two young ladies came around the corner, and they had Dobermans, And the minute I saw them, I'm like, those aren't European, right? And then they came over and they walked to me because, hey, we're Doberman people, right? And they're like, oh, we knew the minute we saw him, he was a European Doberman. Look at his chest. Like they knew they knew the differences. You know what I mean? Like, it was funny until you see them next to each other, side by side. They're two different breeds.
Yeah.
It's two different breeds, completely two different breeds.
Yeah.
So,
Europeans are more boxier, 20 or
yes,
30 pounds heavier,
yes,
yeah, the Americans are a little more, docile, a little more submissive, a
yes,
little more
yes.
less high drive and stuff like that. They can still be a protection dog because I know our dogs were crazy back in the day and they're American. But yeah, Europeans, when I fell in love with them, just a working line,
Yes.
And then we started getting into, more of the sport work side of it.
Right.
And learning about all the things that go into, training the dogs and getting to the level that we do in sport work and stuff like that. It takes a lot of work, man. It's crazy, but it's fun.
It's a lot of fun, man. I know what
Yeah.
I know for me, I have him jumping on crates. I have him, doing all the type of stuff that I've trained him I trained him to do and continue to do with
Yeah.
him, and just the funny part is it's like I look at my fence, around my property, and I'm like, this dog could jump over this fence anytime he wants. And that's the joke. It's
Yeah,
like, who am
capable.
I kidding? Like, if he wanted to, he'll take a running start and he'll leap over this
Yeah.
fence like a cat, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And and to the point where, again, it's the training, even inside the house at the beginning, it's like, you're not allowed to go here right now. Okay. As you
Yeah.
mature, you expose him and allow them, to, hey, here's what you can go. And especially like for everyone out there too, this is me personally. I don't neuter my male dogs. I don't do it. I don't believe in it. No matter how many dogs I've had in my life, I've never neutered any of my male dogs ever. And when I had labs, people would come to my house and go, "Those are labs?" I go, "Yeah, that's what they're supposed to look like." Because
Yeah.
they didn't look like eunuchs. You know what I mean? Like they're
Mm-hmm.
big, they're lean. 120-pound Labradors walk around the house. You know what I mean? So like,
Sure.
so at the end of the day, listen, you're going to deal with marking. It's part of it, especially if you have other
Yep.
dogs in the house. But again, it goes back to the training. It goes back to the training of, you're not, you're going to have to control that natural instinct to mark territory, right? But they're trainable. It's trainable completely. So when
Yeah.
people say these things like, you've got to neuter the dog, and I go, no, you just got to be a better owner. Okay. You've got to be a better
Sure.
owner. And at the end of the day, when you neuter a male dog specifically, you change the dog. I don't care what the breed is. You change the way they
Yeah.
look, the way they develop, the whole nine. My uncle was an equine vet. Well, he is an equine vet many, many, many years ago. And they geld racehorses all the time. And he was specifically into that, into that realm of the equine, industry. And we talked about this, and he goes straight up. He's like, if I cut your what's off, he goes, how would you feel? I'm like, what
Yeah.
do you mean? I go, he goes, yeah. He goes, you'd be pissed off. He goes, it pisses them off too. He goes,
Sure.
it doesn't make a difference what the animal is, just so you know, it pisses them off. He goes, and it changes them. He goes, on top
Sure.
of it changes their mentality. It obviously changes the physicality of the dog.
Yeah,
He's
of course. And
like,
if you do it too early, it cuts the drive out of the dog, or,
get it. Like my vet, they're always, I know, because they, for whatever reason, like in this country particularly, I don't know what it is. These vets at a certain age, they want you to neuter every freaking dog that comes through
Sure.
there.
Sure.
Like, and I'm sorry. My last lab lived till 15 years old, unneutered.
Oh yeah. Same
And
here. Same here. Yeah.
and we unfortunately had to put him down because he just, he became old and ill. You know what I mean? But like,
Sure.
it didn't affect anything. It made him this beast. Everyone talks about him to this day. This
Yeah.
beast of a lab that I had. You know what I mean? They're like, that's
Yeah.
a lab. I'm like, yeah. That's
Well,
what they're
like
supposed
I instruct, when I instruct, owners of multiple dogs and they're intact, all I say is, just make sure that you guys are being responsible when they do go into heat, so you
Correct.
can separate them. Because there's a lot of times I have to separate my dogs, right?
Yeah, no, I've
And
I've had my issues here. Trust me, I get it.
yeah, so we don't want unfortunate or unplanned breeding. So
No.
sometimes we do that because, especially with our females, we only breed them once a year.
Correct.
So we don't want it. We want them to ensure that they're healthy, and we don't want to go back to back with them. But again, you just got to be responsible. It's healthier for the dogs to keep them intact. Yeah, It's something they push just because, a lot of dogs, stray dogs, get out there and start, having puppies. The other day I was on my property and I'm sitting here, we have a lot of stray dogs around the area that just roam.
Sure.
And some in the desert, and some people just drop off dogs. So these dogs be having puppies. So the other day I'm sitting at my kitchen window and I'm feeding the dogs, and I happen to look out the window and I happen to see two stray dogs with like 5 pitties, like pit bull puppies.
Right.
So I go out there and I start running out there and I come on, baby, come on. And they got scared and they start running off.
Right.
But the mom stayed and I fed her. But I took her down the road, man.
Yeah.
Because I don't, especially, you feed them, they're going to start coming to you every day,
Of course.
And I don't need it. But yeah, so, you do that. So you just got to be responsible owners and make sure that, especially if you have dogs that are intact in your home, just separate them if you don't want to do any breeding. So, but yeah, it's a crazy game, man, this breeding thing, and it takes your life, it consumes your life, but we love it. I love it. And again, I just want to produce some great puppies out there to provide the love, to you guys.
Listen, I got to plug you right now to everyone watching. Like, obviously this comes from a place of bias. But outside of that, I have been around many other people with other Dobermans from other breeders, and they ask, where did I get Bane? Because their Doberman doesn't look like that. And that's basic. Yeah. And that's real talk. You know what I mean? And, and at the end of the day, it is a testament to what you guys are doing out there, and, the quality of the breed. And even from a standpoint of health, everyone out there, my vet, because Dobermans do have certain little, issues that they can have, the DCM and all this other type of stuff that they can have. Bane is fit as a fiddle, because I have, every time we go, we have every test done. As we're dog people here, so it's like, listen, whatever he needs, he gets, that type of thing. But as far as, again, outside of being a showstopper, the health of your dogs, your Dobermans, straight up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it comes to, with all those risks that certain breeds have, especially Dobermans with the DCM and VWD and things like that, we ensure that we do all the testing to ensure that we're breeding for health and things like that. But we got to remember that, just like us, we do have risks. Correct. And we got to ensure that we're staying healthy and doing the right things to maintain that healthy lifestyle, to have that longer life that we should, instead of getting our life short, right?
Yeah.
So same thing. I talk about Dobies. Even though there's a risk of DCM down the line, you can control that. There's ways to control that, and just don't try to overwork your dog. Just like a marathon runner, you don't go tomorrow and run a marathon. You build up to that marathon.
Right.
So just with your dogs, build that endurance every day. Build an endurance. If you're gonna run, if you're a 7-mile runner, and you do that, every day, well, if you want your dog to do that, well, build them up to a mile, and then 2 miles and 3 miles, and up till he gets to that point. Again, you don't want to overwork your dog. They don't sweat. They can overheat. So just gotta want to be careful. So there's some questions I want to ask you, Dr. Paul, which is kind of relating to your specialty, chiropractic medicine.
Please.
So the question I wanted to ask you is, have you seen the dog chiropractor?
I have seen
that
him.
Does adjusting on dogs?
Yeah, I've seen it. And I have.
Is that crazy? And what do you think about that?
I think it's fantastic, to be honest with you. And if you notice by the looks on their faces when they're done, when he's done treating them, they're like, thank you. It's almost like when I see patients, when you get that instantaneous relief, whether it's been a neck pain or back pain or, a shoulder or an elbow, whatever. You got to remember something. It's a skeletal system. It's just in a different, different species, right? So, way back when, I saw it in the equine field all the time. You want to see something? Watch a horse get adjusted. Okay. So
really?
And I've done that. That's something I've done, right? Way back when, because of my attachment to a family member. You know what I mean? But that guy, that doctor, he loves these animals. And so, like, if you notice, you see how he calms them, and you could tell, as you know. Listen, we always say this, right? If your dog doesn't like somebody, that person's usually no good, right? If a dog doesn't like somebody, you know.
Yeah.
Every dog, and you've seen with this doctor, he's treating pit bulls, he's treating Connie Corsos, he's treating poodles, he's treating everything. And guess what? They love him. Okay, they absolutely love him, and that's
This
something
is,
to be said.
yeah, this is him right here. If you can see it,
I
let me
see
see
it.
if I can play a video where he's adjusting one of these dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, look at the face.
Yeah. Do you see the reactions that they get when they
The
see
reactions that he kisses them, and it's like, no, but they're like complete. They feel completely safe. Even there's a technique where he's adjusting thoracic spine. And one of the dogs, he's got him in like almost a full Nelson technique. And the dog's like this. He's like, all right, man, what are you doing to me? I'm okay. And then boom, you hear the audible, right? And then you see the dog's face. He's like, wow, I feel better. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
listen, I can get into how it, listen, he's clearing out the spine, he's adjusting skeletal deficiencies, he's increasing he's correcting the biomechanics, he's increasing the to the nervous flow to the segments, to the areas that innervate to the extremities and so on and so forth. So of course they're going to perform and feel 10 times, 20 times better than they did before, especially if they had a subluxated vertebra.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. When I first seen that, I thought of you. I was like, man, since Dr. Paul is a chiropractic doctor, he probably adjusts people. He
Oh,
does a
I
lot
could
of
do
stuff
it.
like that.
Yeah,
And there's probably like a benefit for someone to actually do that on dogs, to be adjusted like that.
absolutely.
And especially for like hips and
Oh,
elbows and things
yes.
like that.
Yeah.
Because especially in large breed dogs, they somewhat get hip dysplasia.
Of course. And
So
clearing them out. Absolutely.
yeah, so what we try to do, when our dogs get to a certain age, we get them OFA certified through
Yep.
AKC
Yep.
for hips and elbows.
Sure.
So yeah, we try to do that, and to ensure that when we put both dogs together that have these tests done, that the puppies pretty much are pretty much going to be okay for any hip dysplasia.
Of course. Of course. I mean, that's, again, like I said, between all the examinations that Bane has had, every vet, he sees one vet obviously all the time, but it's a great animal hospital that we take him to, and they're always raving, about like his health in general, because they've had other Dobermans in there where, they've said to me, hey, are you aware of DCM? Are you aware of X? Are you aware of Y? Are you aware of Z? Oh yeah, I'm aware of it all. He goes, well, your dog has none of them. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a testament to the proper breeding. You know what I mean? That you've accomplished here. So I get it all the time.
All right. Well, let me ask you this also. So when you first got Bane, did you have like a certain, how do I say, time that you were going to get him dialed in, and what you were going to have, what you were going to do with him? And now 3 years later, 4 years later, or has your mind changed on what you intend to just? I know he's going to be your pet. That's your loving dog.
Right.
But I know that you wanted to do some protection with him at one point.
Yes.
Did you you still want to do some stuff like that?
I do. I'm glad you asked me that, because a friend of mine, what I realized is my trainer, as fantastic as he is, and we did some guard stuff, right? And I could tell just by going there with him that as fantastic as he is with the obedience and everything else, the guard dog stuff is just not him, right? And Bane's at a point now, at least from my observations, he needs challenges. He needs challenges. And so my buddy Patsy, he just got a boxer, and he's training with this one individual who, you know, more law enforcement based, more guarding, protection type of stuff. But as he described to me how he works, it kind of fits into the mold that I want with Bane. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want my dog to remain my dog. I don't want
Sure.
him morph into something that's not acceptable, right? For a lack of a better term. And literally, we had this conversation like 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, you need to put me on to this gentleman. I said, because I want to bring Bane with me. I want to take him and have him evaluate him, you know, and see where we can go and start that level of training. So yes, the answer,
Sure.
I gave you the long version, but yes. And it's all based on just evaluating him myself and saying, oh, it's time. You know, it's time. It's time for him to get to the next level. He needs it, and it's the healthiest thing for him in his mind, most importantly.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's again the reason why I asked you, because I think our perspective of when we first got like Deuce,
Right.
you know, we went gung ho on him. You know, we sent him to the best trainers. He was being trained every month, board and train. He would come back for a week and things like that. And he did this for probably like 2 to 3 years, right?
Sure.
And at this point, I was, you know, at some time I was having some puppies, and I couldn't actually spend as much time on the field with him as much as we did before, because, you know, we only had him at that time.
Right.
So now that he's going to be 6 years old in April, this month, actually, in a few more days. And so for us now that he's in his somewhat prime, because normally they're 4 to 6 years they're in their prime.
Right.
You know, we don't want to put all that training to waste.
Of course.
So we want to, you know, probably go back to doing some sport work with him and doing some trial work and see where we can get him more titles, because he already has some titles in like dock diving, stuff like that.
Sure.
You know, barn hunting, search and rescue, scent work. You know, there's all types of titles that the dogs can get out there, and they challenge them at the same time. You know, like Fast Cat. I think Fast Cat is even on AKC now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so you can do all types of stuff like that. So, you know, basically that's why we tried to move out to you know, this type of property where we bought 4 acres, so we can do that for the dog community, for the Dobie community, and have a place where it's comfortable, where people can come and structure their dogs and have a little complex where they can play and stuff like that. So
and
it's going to be great.
It's the most conducive thing for you. You know, outside of your profession, is the most conducive thing for the breed, period. You know, it's they need it. But the challenge is, this breed needs challenges. They need stimulation. And it's just not going to cut it, because they get bored. You know, they get bored. They're so smart. I think they're the 5th smartest dog breed, right? And I'd even rank them higher, you know, against a lot of those that are allegedly ahead of them. But, you know, they're thinkers, man. These dogs are thinkers. They are thinkers. They're assessors. You know, they're on guard at all times. No pun intended. You know, they are surveying. They are processing information. You know, and they're like, all right, what am I going to get into next? You know, it's just
Yeah, going back to some questions that we got through Instagram is, you know, Jameson, the European Doberman, she said, I put diapers on both of them. Yeah, so when you have the dogs, you know, sometimes you have to put these diapers on them, you know, so no accidents, right? Because, you know, again, you don't want to unscheduled or unplanned breeding.
Correct.
What's this one say? Oh, GSF30 says Capo dwarfed an American Dobie. Capo is, again, one of our dogs, and Jameson is one of our dogs that they're just commenting.
Yeah. Well, they're right. Again, and nothing against people who have the American. It's just you don't know until you see. You know, it really is. And that's the proper term. I haven't seen one that hasn't been dwarfed. You know what I mean? That's been around. You know, like it's a preference, whatever. You know.
Yeah. Again, you know, you can see the difference, and you know, that's one thing that we try to pride ourselves in, because you know, a lot of times we get referrals, you know, like yourself and other people that have our dogs, that people see our dogs. And then, you know, we love that. You know, we love that word of mouth because, again, like I always say, proof is in the pudding. I don't have to talk about my dogs. You know, if you want to go to another breeder that produces some nice dogs, go right ahead. You know, I'm not forcing you to come to. I'm just showing you what we provide, how we provide it, how we raise them, right? The love and care that we put into them every day, you know, and that's what I pride ourselves in because it shows, right? And when you guys and other people
absolutely
see the
shows.
dog on the street,
Just follow
you know, they
follow
go,
your
man, your
Instagram.
dog is nice.
Yeah, man. Just follow Nemesis Kennel's Instagram, man. There's a couple of them, and you see, you know. And I listen as a Doberman person, I follow a bunch of other stuff because I just want to see the dogs. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
come from a place of bias. I'm sorry, and
yeah,
they're not the same as you. Period. They're just not. You know. And there's some beautiful other dogs out, beautiful other breeders out there. Great guys I'm fans of, but they're not your dogs. Sorry.
yeah.
That's all
Yeah,
there is
well,
to
you
it.
know, yeah, well, hopefully one of these days, you know, we can take a trip or, you know, and hopefully, you know, Whiskey can come
Yes.
out with me and meet his brother Bane
Yeah, man.
because they were best buddies before I shipped them over to you.
I know. You have the picture you sent me, you know, of the two of them together before
Yeah,
he got out here, you know.
because
So
I know they're the same size. I mean, everyone sees Whiskey and he's huge. You
yeah.
know,
Yep.
he's just not as stocky as Bane. Like Bane's
Right.
more full,
Yeah.
right? Where
Yeah.
Whiskey is more lean, like he's a little longer.
Yep.
Because we were doing a lot of French ring with him.
Yeah.
So, you know, our trainers all the time, you know, they let us know that, you know, don't feed them too much because they have to be rewarded with treats
Sure.
and they have to be very acceptive to that, you know,
Got
because
it.
if they're full, you know, if they're always eating and full,
Yeah.
they're not going to be, you know, they're not going to, you know, do what the trainers most likely want to do with the
Of course.
treats and how they do it. So yeah, so I keep them pretty lean, but yeah,
Yeah.
he's a big man.
They you know what like I said, I feed Bane twice a day. And it's raw diet, as you know. It's salmon oil, it's greens, you know, it's cosequin, all the good stuff, you know, for his development.
Yeah,
But again, guys, I wanted to add some kibble for nutrition. What did I do? I called Mark. Hey, what do you recommend? And I got
yeah,
what he told me to get. Right to
yeah.
this day.
Are you
So
feeding them Anuk now? Because I
I'm
know
giving
you
him
were
a
on Victor at one
but
point.
yeah, and then we changed because Victor they stopped the production of it, whatever. If you remember when I
Yeah, yeah.
got
There
the
was a recall on it on that
recall
particular
on it.
brand. Mhm.
Right. So we switched when you told me to switch, and but I sprinkle that in there a little bit, you know, and
Yep.
I keep the kibble in my office because I'm just not going to keep the raw in my fridge, in my
Oh
office.
yeah,
At that
for
point.
sure. Yeah,
And so
stinky.
and dependent upon his activity levels, I will add a meal, but that meal will only be a half a cup of kibble. You know what I mean? A
Hmm.
half a cup of kibble with. I always add salmon oil. Always add the greens because you can never go wrong with that for the obvious reasons,
Yeah,
nutritionally. But at the same time, you know, I have a treat in my hand now because. You know, he's running around with Peanut here, and he's like, "All right, whatever, dude. I'm busy. You know, my woman's here."
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? So he's like,
yeah.
and
You pass him a treat
but
under the table real fast.
he's like, whatever. He walked by. You saw when he went up the stairs. He's like, yeah, whatever, man. I gotta follow around. But you know, I base that on his activity, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna overfeed him because Dobermans are like I always tell people, the Rottweiler is like the wrestler, like the pro wrestler, not an amateur wrestler, right? The Doberman is a prize fighter. Okay. He's a perfect combination of power, speed, agility, athleticism, right? He's this lean,
Nice.
he's Apollo Creed, right? If you want to
Yeah, I
compare,
love it.
right? You want to
Yeah, I love
compare like to a dog to an iconic character in the Rocky movies, Dobermans
it.
are
Sure.
Apollo Creed, right? So
Nice.
that's it, yeah, so that's what they are. The Dobermans are the Apollo Creed. Say that again.
Yeah. That's awesome. Hey, before we go, Dr. Paul, I know you got I just got a new pet. Do you want to play? Are you still there?
I got you. I had a little mess up with the audio there for a second.
There you go.
There
Are
you go.
back?
I'm back. You got me. What were you saying again?
Okay,
I'm
there you
sorry.
go. No, what I was going to say, you know, before I let you go, because I know you're a busy guy, and we've been on almost an hour now.
That's cool.
I know that you just came out with a new brand, which I love. Could you want to plug that brand?
Oh,
And
my
let people know where to get
nutrition store you're
your
talking
apparel?
about? Yeah. So I'm my nutrition brand is my supplement company is called Forza Nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a little ethnocentric, so I try to stick with the Italian stuff. You know, when I'm doing that.
I love it.
Yeah. So basically, we anything you need from a standpoint of sports supplements, nutrition. We do meal prep. We do protein muffins that are delicious that I could ship around the country if anyone is interested in that. We have a master pastry chef who makes those with various protein powders that I handpick that are only of the highest quality. Again, supplementation, vitamins, you name it. And I integrate that obviously with the gym, Powers Gym in Brewster, which I own as well, Brewster, New York, and then my practice, physical medicine rehabilitation from New York and Connecticut, obviously in New York and Connecticut.
Yep.
Yeah, it was time to move on. It was a good, I had a great time with the company I was with before, but it was time to expand on my own vision of how, I wanted to do things, for lack of a better term, and it's been
Sure.
nothing but a blessing.
Yeah. And so, if they do want to find you out in those areas, they can go to your IG, which I have down at the bottom right there.
Yes,
At Dr. Discipline or Powerhouse Jim Brewster.
Yep, and Forza Nutrition as well we're on IG as well. But any one of those, you can find me. You can DM me. I always respond. I'm not one of those. I have people reach out to me from all over the country about various things, whether it's healthcare, training. Hey Bane, you want to come say hello? Come here, buddy. Come up. Come to Papa. Come on up. Come up. You're allowed. I'll do this so you guys can see.
There you go.
Sit down.
What's up, Papa?
Sit. No. Okay. Good boy. That's my boy. So there you go, guys. Right.
Yeah. So it's almost bedtime for you guys, huh?
We run hard here, So
that's good.
Now,
it started snowing a little over here.
Yeah. Oh my God. We had snow yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Oh my Lord. Yeah. And thank God it didn't stick. But then it's gets back. We're going into spring now, so it's starting to warm up a little bit.
For sure. Yeah, it's a crazy difference out here. We get snow one day and then it melts it after like 8 or 9 hours. It's funny.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, the dogs love it though.
Heck yeah. Bane ran out. When the first time he was in the snow, he's like, "What's this?" People like even with no undercoat, they're like, "Hey man, I'm cool. I'm out here."
Yeah. So again, well, I appreciate you, Dr. Paul, for taking some time, to let our viewers out there know, we appreciate you taking time out to watch this. If you guys, enjoy what we're talking about here, and if you learned anything, just make sure that you subscribe to us and, you share it, and make sure you leave some comments down below so we can know what we can go forward and talk about. Again, thank you again, and you guys have a good night, and God bless. And Dr. Paul, it's always a pleasure to see you. Love having these talks. Anything that we can do, just let us know.
Yes, sir. Guys, God bless. And remember, Nemesis Kennels, check them out. Best in the business. And like I said, I'm always available for any type of questions you have for me. And I look forward to the next time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And you guys have a good one.
Thank you, my man.
All right. Take care.
Be good.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll have another live coming soon next week with another special guest and for another topic. All right. You guys have a good one. And this is Mark Tamayo from Dobie Talk from Nemesis Kennels. Take care.